Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Newcastle United news show live here on the Toon Review. My name's Paul, and thank you again for tuning in. We always say that, the news never stops with Newcastle United, and that's exactly what's happened. Not long after doing our morning show, we get the news through that Amanda and Mehrdad will be leaving Newcastle United. What does this mean? Who will be taking on the role of day-to-day running of the club, etc., etc. We'll have a look at all of that in the show. Let me know in the comments what you think about the situation. Some fans are panicking, some aren't. But mainly, I think the majority of fans should really be saying thank you. Thank you for everything they've done. Thank you for sticking with us and not giving up on the takeover, etc. And obviously, since the takeover, what they've done for this football club is nothing short of magnificent. Chippers puts in an early super chat. Thank you, Chippers. Just want to thank Amanda and Mehrdad for giving us our club back and making us dare to dream again, except the dreams could be reality. Absolutely. There's a lot of sadness, I think, amongst the Newcastle fan base since this news was released. Obviously, it's a big surprise to everybody because, listen, we knew it was coming at some point. I mean, even Amanda said that at some point, they would sell their shares. But it wasn't long ago that she said that, that's not to come for a while. We are very, very invested into Newcastle United. We love the fans. We love the football club. And we'll do what we can to keep on pushing to win things. And sadly, they are leaving, and it's I don't know. I'm gutted, actually. I really am, because certainly from Amanda's point of view, what she's done since she's been at the club, she's put herself very much in the spotlight, very much at front and center of day-to-day running of the club, and some of the names that we brought to the club since they took over have been fantastic. The latest one, of course, being Paul Mitchell. Now, whether that just completed everything, and now that PIF have bought the 6% shares, it's PIF that have bought them, not anybody else. And already the rumor mill has started online about why she's stepping down. I don't think we should actually be looking at that in any shape or form. There could be many, many different reasons why now is the time to do it. We know that they've all met up at Anna Castle this week, as they normally do. A lot of people were putting two and two together and thinking, yeah, it's for transfers, including us. We thought as well, it's all about transfers. And it's not. Lady Sam, thank you very much for your super chat. Our queen, champion for the lasses and club, 2 points from me. Do PIF buy her shares above market value without investigation? Also, she could sell her stake yet stay on at the club in a role. Well, from what I can gather, Sam, it's basically they're cutting ties. They're leaving. I've seen a few people already in the chat mention about an ambassadorial role and things like that. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're just making a clean cut from Newcastle United. Now, as I say, whatever reason that is for, that's their business. It's not really our business to speculate on why they've decided that now is the time. Obviously, they've had a conversation with the chairman, and they've decided now is the time. Now is the right time to do it. They're not leaving it too late into the once pre-season gets started and then all this information drops on us like a brick. They've done it when everything's reasonably quiet before the new season starts, which will in order Newcastle United to move on. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. The club have obviously got to now adjust, and without the two of them running things, certainly Amanda, as we know, was very much involved in the day-to-day running of the football club, and that is now going to change. There's various speculation that Darren Eales is now going to take a higher step and take a larger role in the day-to-day running, but also the chairman himself. There is a few media reports this morning saying that Yasser Al-Rumayyan will take a day-to-day role in the club. I don't see that being possible given his other duties that he's got. I think that would be very time-consuming for him to try and run Newcastle United on a day-to-day basis. Dr. House, thank you for your super chat. Amanda and Mehrdad gave us our club back, and no words are enough praise for doing that. I will miss them so much. Thank you, Amanda and Mehrdad. Brilliantly said. Absolutely brilliantly said. And I don't think that can be said any better. Let's be honest. Amanda walked into St. James's Park that day years and years ago to watch us and fell in love with the football club. Just completely fell in love with Newcastle United. And from then on, it was a kind of a love story, wasn't it? And she wasn't giving up on us. No matter how many times that, she hit a wall, she didn't give up. She believed that Newcastle United was going to be her venture, her story, and she wasn't going to give up on it. And it's for me, we can never be thankful enough for that particular fight that she had. And it was a fight. It was a long, drawn-out fight and a difficult fight for her at the time, along with everybody else, of course, who was involved in the takeover. Nick Thornton, thank you for your super chat. Now is the time to thank them both for what they have done and look forward. They've been amazing for us and will always be held in the highest regard. Arturo, thank you for your super chat. Who is going to buy their stake? PIF. That's already been confirmed. The PIF are buying the stake, the 6% that was left over. Obviously, I think a lot of the fans are going to worry about, where the club goes in a certain direction. Now, obviously, Amanda's been a big fan of Eddie Howe. We know that. But now Mehrdad and Amanda have gone. A lot of speculation again that if Eddie doesn't start the season in the right way, they might move on to another manager very quickly. I'm not buying into that. I think Eddie is well thought of within the Newcastle United camp. But obviously, without Amanda and Mehrdad there is those sort of questions that will obviously be labelled at the club. And boy, oh boy, there's a lot of questions raised by it, absolutely. But am I in any sort of panic? Absolutely not. Already, opposition fans are putting on Twitter that, this is the start of the downfall from the takeover from Newcastle. PIF will be next out the door. That is a complete load of bollocks, by the way. We always knew that Amanda and Mehrdad would be stepping down at some point. I didn't think it would be this quick. I thought there was a couple more years left at least. Amanda was very invested into the women's side. And that's got to be a concern for the women's team as well. Who is going to take on that mantle of really, pushing the women's game like Amanda Staveley's done. Because I don't think that should be underestimated in any shape or form. This women's team is now heading towards, great things. And hopefully that will continue with whoever takes on that kind of mantle of bringing the ladies' team forward. As for the men, I mean, look, we've got to think that there is a plan in place. In fact, there will be a plan in place. This is what will have been discussed in the meetings that they've had this week. Of course it will. That would have been the main thing that was discussed. And I think given, Amanda's got lots of fingers in lots of pies elsewhere. I mean, there's people mentioning, is she in debt? Is she broke? She's court cases that she's lost in the past, etc. That's none of our business, to be honest, as Newcastle fans. I'm certainly not going to sit here and scrutinize on what might be the reason she's leaving. That is Amanda and Mehrdad's business and no one else's, to be honest. I'm more focused on what they've actually done for our football club, because we are a new football club now, given what we put up with under Ashley. We are very much a new football club, and very much it's down to Amanda, because she was the one that sort of got things going. She was the one that brought things to the fore, and she didn't give up with the push to get the takeover through. There was a lot of people behind the scenes, obviously, as well, to help get this through. But at the same time, she was front and center. She was on the cameras. She was doing interviews. She was there. And she gave it her all to get Newcastle United to a better place. And that's, as fans, what we should be focusing on. Not the reason that it's happened now, not the reason why she might be leaving or, anything like that. We have to focus on saying thank you and what she's done for the club. It's really devastating news, I think, to the majority of Newcastle United fans. Yes, the club will always come first, and yes, we will always be a progressive club under PIF. There's no doubt about that. There'll always be change. And I think that's what we as Newcastle United fans have got to realise as well, that there will be consistent change, always. Especially if we want to be this elite side and absolutely just be there and just at the pinnacle of football. That's the aim of PIF, isn't it? That's what they took over the club for. But at the same time, I just think it's really devastating. Honestly, that she's been such a happy person, always sticking up for the club, always sticking up for the fans. She's always come out and explained things to the fans, whether it be statements, etc. And it really is a sad news for us as fans. Cushy says, Paul, if PIF have taken these shares, that makes us more powerful money-wise. We will misuse. Yeah, no doubt about that. The fact that PIF have purchased the shares, they are, the be-all and end-all. Rubens are still there, but PIF now have, the majority of the club, shall we say. And, we're very much in their hands now. And being in their hands, we now have to see what their plans are. It shouldn't come down to blind panic or anything like that. We have got to understand that whatever discussions have taken place for a reason, and decisions have been made now rather than closer to the start of the season or during the season. It's probably, if it was going to be done, this is probably the point where it was done. Now, as for Darren Eales, if he takes a greater role in what's going on at the club, then he is going to have to be the one that is probably going to have to be the vocal one to communicate with the fans. Amanda does this a lot of the time. We know that she had a fantastic relationship with the players, a fantastic relationship with the fans, the ladies' team, etc. Now, whoever is taking over the day-to-day role of the club, they will have to do that. I mean, they don't have to, but that's what we want as fans. We want to be kept in the loop. We want all this information to keep coming our way. The communication from the football club to the fans has massively increased because there was none under Ashley. And now there is a lot. And behind the scenes, there's a lot being done. Yes, it's not great on the ticket in front yet. There's still work to do on that. But the new website's there. The infrastructure is in place. They've done so much work behind the scenes, and that cannot be underestimated. And when it comes to Amanda leaving, I think it's just a big thank you. It's a huge thank you from us as fans. I've seen in the comments there that, War Flag's first home game of the season, it should all be about Amanda and Mehrdad. I perfectly agree with that. I think they should. It's our way of saying thank you because there's no other way, really, is there? I mean, Mehrdad's on social media, obviously, but as for a fan's gesture to say thank you for everything that they've done, I think that would be perfect from War Flags to actually do that and put something in place for the first game of the season to say thank you. Moving forward, I guess now, Paul Mitchell, his job is going to be massive. He's got to keep that, relationship with Eddie Howe going. Obviously, if Yasir Al-Rumayyan is going to take a bigger part in the club, then I'm very interested to see where that goes because, like I said, there's been so much going on media since this broke. There's lots of reports saying he's going to take a bigger say in what happens on a day-to-day basis. I don't know how. I really don't know how that would work, but I guess that is something that we will find out. These conversations will have already taken place. These decisions have already been made. I think, obviously the board at Newcastle know which direction they're going to go in. We as fans, we don't know yet, but I think that will be made clear in the coming days and weeks, to be honest. Anoi, thank you for your super chat. Who would you rather lose, Amanda or Gordon? Just curious. That's a difficult question to answer, to be honest, and I'm not going to answer it because you're talking about the playing side and the behind-the-scenes side. Very, very different roles, to be quite fair. So losing anybody is a disappointment. And especially when you were losing Amanda, who like I say, has been the face of Newcastle United since the takeover. And because she's been the face of Newcastle United, now she's leaving. it is a little bit of a worry to the fans, obviously. Yeah, Sean's saying that there's a club statement needed. I think there will be a statement from the club today. I have no doubt about that at some point the club will release a statement. And of course, we'll talk about that on the Matchday Live show tonight during half-time in the England game. But at the moment, where I sit as a Newcastle United fan, I'm a little bit devastated. I have to say, I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say, oh, I'm not, I'm not that bothered about it. I know there'll be some fans saying, this is the way it works. This is the progress of the club. This is how things go. Absolutely agree with that 100%. But you can still feel very upset about the fact that somebody who has done so much for our football club in such a little time is now sort of cutting ties with us. It's so sad. And, I've seen already loads of videos out on social media about the takeover day and the happiness in our face. And Mehrdad coming out and saying it will be a slow process, but it's something that's in place. This is probably just the next step, guys. It really is. It's the next step to see where we go with the football club. But we have to be disappointed. We have to be sad because, like I say, she's been that guiding light, I think, since the takeover, hasn't she? And without a guiding light, then, who is going to be that guiding light moving forward? There's a lot of questions. Geordie Dan says from Twitter, there is a meeting tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday with the board, including Staveley. This will be her last involvement. The meeting will also be used to kickstart recruitment. Yeah, that came out this morning, and I think a lot of people were just thinking, yeah, that's going to be... that's it, really. That's going to be the transfers. We are going to discuss recruitment and we are going to really ramp it up, especially when the Euros are finished. But obviously, there's a little bit of a difference in there, isn't there? There's a little bit of different news that we probably didn't think were coming. Yvonne says, Amanda and Mehrdad found the love of Newcastle. They will always hold on to that, and so will we. Slothy says, Amanda got deals done. I worry about this summer. We need to pull our fingers out. I'm not panicking just yet, Slothy, to be honest. I really do believe that there's plenty of time in the transfer window yet. Paul Mitchell will certainly be working hard behind the scenes, probably with Eddie Howe, working together to make sure that we've got a fantastic squad going into the coming season. And I'm not going to put any doubt on that. For me, the time to discuss the transfer window and whether it was a success or not is when the window ends. When we do the deadline day show, when it comes to the end of the deadline day and that Big Ben goes off and that's it, then we'll have a look and take a look back and say, right, who were the players linked? I know there was a lot, but who were the major players linked? And who did we get? Who didn't we get? What were the reasons for that? But again, you look back to the documentary, don't you? And you see, for example, the Anthony Gordon transfer, the work that Amanda put into that and the sheer determination to get the player. This is what somebody else is now going to have to do. It didn't matter where Amanda was in the world at the time. She wanted that transfer through. She knew that was very important for Eddie Howe and a player that was going to be very important to Newcastle United. And she never gave up on that either. The times that, Everton were coming out with ridiculous figures, Amanda was not put off. She kept fighting just like she did for the takeover. And look what happened with that. We got Gordon in. Now, who there now is going to have that desire, that upfront stubbornness not to give up? That is what we need. It's somebody that's going to have to, be in an Amanda ilk, if you like, to make sure that we don't get trampled on. Nobody tries to fob us off like we know clubs do when transfers are involved. That's a big call. It's a big call for whoever's going to do that. If it is going to be Darren Eales or if it's going to be Yasser Al-Rumayyan, then they face a big task. Now, I'm not stupid. I'm looking at these guys and thinking, right, these were brought into Newcastle United for a particular reason. These were brought in because they're the best of the best. And PIF know that they're the best of the best. Darren Eales, fantastic job in Atlanta, built the club from nothing and was a very, very big success at that. So he's got previous of building a club. Now, Newcastle United, he doesn't have to build from scratch. But with what Ashley did, you're pretty much looking at a club that was rock bottom at the time and then has started to rise with some investment, new owners, etc. And you have to put your trust in that that end of things, saying that Darren Eales will be the man to take Newcastle United forward like that, because he's been there, he's done it, he's got the T-shirt. And doing it in America probably is very much difficult to do in what you do in Europe, because football is massive over here. It's taken off in America, yes, but it, not as big, anywhere near as big. So the job he's done in Atlanta, you have to praise. And Yasser Al-Rumayyan himself, he is a magnificent businessman. And you just get the feeling when you listen to him talk, he will not be pushed around at all. If he has a focus and a goal, I think this man will go and achieve that goal. I'm not worried about, I'm just picking up on comments that I've seen, on Twitter and everything before we went live. And I've seen comments about people saying, the friendly face of Newcastle United has gone. And a PIF now and starting to bring all this, Saudi stuff in and things like that. Guys, we're going to have to put up with that. There is going to be random fans from other clubs thinking, oh my God, this is huge. This is massive. Newcastle United is suddenly, they were heading for glory, and now, Amanda's out. But we have to remember that Amanda and Mehrdad were only 6% of it. So 6%, it's a lot of money, but it's nothing in the business world. Okay, so that doesn't bother me in the slightest. People have been on about, the Saudi ownership since the takeover. That's water off a duck's back now to us. We have to look forward. We have to maintain the belief that whatever's been discussed coming before this announcement was made has been done for the right reasons. All right. Everything has to be done for the right reasons at the football club. Just like the signings, whoever comes in, whoever goes out. And, it's going to be constant change at Newcastle United. And for us, we have to take the bumps along the road. And this is another bump. It's come very suddenly, absolutely. But it's another bump in the road that we as fans are just going to have to overcome. Luke says the club might be about to take some unpopular financial decisions, like selling the name of the stadium. And they may want to make sure Amanda isn't attached to those moves. Just a possibility. I don't think they'll be looking at Amanda like that, saying we don't want we don't want her attached to the football club and things like that. And but yeah, maybe. I mean, that could be that they are about to make some unpopular decisions with Amanda that she didn't quite agree with, and she's maybe turned around and said, "Right, the time is now for us to step back." That could be, but there's a million different reasons why this has happened or possibly happened. We as fans, we can only speculate until we get that statement from the club. But it might only be a brief statement. It could be just a statement to thank them for the work they've done at the football club and wish them well in the future. It may be a very brief statement. It might be a long-winded one explaining exactly what's gone on. We don't know until we see it. Sledge says she was the change from the absolute shite to the light. It might be part of what they have to do, but it has an impact because of all the positivity she brought. Catherine says, I'm gutted and so thankful for everything Amanda has done for us. All the very best for your future endeavours. You will always be our saviour. Yeah, she'll always be welcome at the club. Absolutely, 100%. And especially amongst the Newcastle United fans. Claire says, agree the club should have been first with a statement to the fans. That's an interesting one. That is interesting, because I first saw this story break on The Athletic, and then suddenly it spread like wildfire, which was very interesting to me. Who actually released that from the football club? Who was it that sort of gave that to the reporters to go and run with it? Because it's a very strange one. Something of this magnitude, you would probably expect the club to come out first and explain it, or just release the news that Amanda and... See, what they could have done is that the club could have put out a little brief statement saying that Amanda and Mehrdad are leaving the club. They've sold their shares to PIF. We want to thank them for what we've done. A further statement will be released in due course. Just to let the fans know that is what's happening, and then there will be a further statement. That's possibly what they could have done. So that is a little bit confusion. A bit of confusion as to what's actually happened behind the scenes. But listen, it's blatantly obvious now. It's there. It's out in the open. Everybody's reported it now, TV shows and everything. So it's out there. Agent Tech says, my concern is there is a stipulation. There must be an English person running club day to day. which I think is where Darren Eales comes in, mate. I think Darren Eales is going to be the main face now of the day-to-day run in Newcastle. I don't believe it's going to be Yasser Al-Rumayyan that has been reported in some media outlets. I don't think that will happen. I think he's still going to be very much in the background, but will take a sort of, I think, a bigger look inside as to what's going on a day-to-day basis. But I don't think he'd be running the club day-to-day. Not with what he's got on his hands. He's a very, very busy man. And I think to run Newcastle United the way it is right now, very much needs somebody to spearhead that on a day-to-day basis. So I genuinely believe that Darren Eales will be the man. Jamie Rubin will still have a say in it. He's still there, and I think he'll play a part. I think he'll work with Darren Eales quite closely. Paul Mitchell will work quite closely with the guys as well. So there is a good team there. Without a doubt, there is a good team there, a very experienced team, and a team that can still take us forward. This may sound a bit brash, but I don't mean to sound brash. But, just because Amanda's leaving, it doesn't mean everything topples down. Because of the people that we've brought in, with thanks to Amanda, we managed to get the likes of Darren Eales. We've got Paul Mitchell. We've got, such a good infrastructure there now to move forward without Amanda there. And that's probably why the decision has come now. Garant says, I don't think any club at the moment has done major business. Exactly. There's still a lot to go. Steve says, could it be a player to sell their shares for mega money to pump it back into the club? Well, obviously, I think PIF will, this is just me speculating this. I think if they've bought the shares from Amanda, they'll put it back into the football club. Absolutely. Whether that affects FFP or not, I mean, it might. It might say, right, we've got a bit more to spend now. Just like, when Chelsea sold their hotels. But obviously, it works very different for the cartel, doesn't it, to what it works for us. Liam says, for some fans, this will be their first experience of joint owners stepping away. It's just like Freddie Shepherd and Sir John Hall. We survived and we will survive this. Thank you, Amanda and Mehrdad. Kevin says, next week will be transfer deals. She's going to be a massive miss, says Slothy. I 100% agree with that. Dan, thank you for your super chat. Too many behaving like this, it's the end. Too many behaving like it's the end. Business managers do this all the time. Some are better on the rebuild, some on expanding. So we could get better. I really do agree with that, Dan. As much as it is sad, like I've just explained there, this is the time now where maybe Amanda's done what she needed to do. She's been the professional through the takeover and the first few years, just restabilizing the football club. And now it's up to the likes of Darren Eales, who, like I said about Atlanta, to take the club forward. That's probably what that means to me. So it is a very, very good point. Love the work they did for the women's team. Hope the growth continues. That's an important side for me. I have to admit that's an important side for me, and probably a lot of the women's, who follow the women's team a lot more than I do. They've got to look at this and think, right, who's going to take on that side of the mantle? Because Amanda, she went to the games. She was very much invested in bringing the ladies' team forward, and she's done that. She's done that brilliantly. Now, who will be the next to step in line and move that side of things forward? Godfather says, I read Paul, I must admit I'm gutted. Without War Mandy, we are still in the dark days, maybe even in the championship. Oh, I don't think so. I don't think it's anywhere near like that. I'm actually, in a way, on the flip side of it, I think I'm very excited about where the club goes now. Because, like I've just said, if Amanda was there to oversee the takeover in the first few years to restabilize everything, now we've got Darren Eales, Mitchell, etc., who are experienced at expanding and bringing things forward from the original growth. And that to me is a little bit exciting, as long as that's how it goes, because I would be devastated if it didn't go that way. But you've got to feel excited in a way. Danielle says, how many times have we fans have demanded early signings, but nothing happened? And the last 4 weeks of the window is madness. It happens every window to every club. Paul says, gutted, but give her an ambassadorial role. That may happen. It may happen, but I genuinely think there is going to be a complete split, and she's going to walk away and concentrate on other business things, and Newcastle will move on in a different direction. We've probably needed to stay in this direction under Amanda, just so everything is stabilized from the dark days of Mike Ashley. We know there was a lot of things wrong with our football club in front of our eyes, never mind what was behind the scenes. So God knows what they've had to, put up with behind the scenes. This is now obviously a stabilized club and ready for the next level. That's the way I think we should look at it, that maybe this is now Newcastle United moving to that next level. Amanda's done what she needed to do and done it brilliantly well. And for that, she'll always be loved here. But now is the time that maybe the club are taking that next step. Barbara says, the sad news has brought a tear to my eye. I'm so upset over this. Hopefully she still comes along to watch us from time to time. Jax is absolutely gutted, can't believe it. Roy says, I know it sounds daft, but it feels like someone has passed away that you care about. It's a strange feeling. Yeah, I'd absolutely agree with that. It is, Ray, to be honest. It's a very strange feeling because it wasn't expected. I think, to say it wasn't expected, we all knew that at some point that Amanda would be selling our shares completely, but I don't think we ever expected it to come this soon. We talk about 5-year plans and things like that, and that's what I was expecting, at least 5 years, and then maybe changes happen. It hasn't worked like that, obviously. We're 3 years down the line almost now, and this is when they've decided to do it. So, the next level, Newcastle United will now head in a different direction under the guidance of probably Darren Eales and Paul Mitchell, with obviously a lot of strong input from Yasser Al-Rumayyan. No doubt about that. He will have a say in it. Of course he will. He's the chairman. But for the day-to-day running, I think obviously Darren Eales will take the club into that next level. We have to trust in that. Julie says it's very sad. They love the club and helped us start a new era after FCB. Newcastle will go on with Saudi. That will continue. I'm fine with selling naming rights. It will always be known as St. James's Park. I mean, that's always been on the agenda, though. People are starting to mention, maybe she wasn't happy because the naming rights and stuff like that and going off in different directions. But let's be honest, guys, the naming rights to the stadium was always mentioned after the takeover because of extra sponsorship. Money coming into the football club. That's what we all wanted, wasn't it? So we all knew that at some point St. James's Park would go under naming rights. But I think the fans will still be communicated with over that. I don't see Newcastle just turn around going, oh, this is the new name for the stadium. I think they'll actually, converse with us on that. I hope we can get Kvaratskhelia a proper marquee signing and a belter of a player for that winger position. I'm not sure we get that kind of player just yet. Brian says, demanded too much, never happy. Like I said, thinking if this lot working me ass off here, Eddie will be F. I think you're talking about the plastic fans. Yeah, look, I'm really not listening to any plastic fans. We who have been a Newcastle United fan for many, 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 many years, even back in the day that cavemen still ate animal legs raw in caves, right? Newcastle United will always now be a progressive football club because we've got rid of the man who held us back for so many years, stopped things happening, was a cancer on the club. All right, he's gone. But now we've got owners who are very, very ambitious. PIF are ambitious. I think everybody has seen that, not just in the world of football, but in everything. PIF have massive ambitions, different departments for this and that. And I think that's what we should be focused on, how exciting this is going to be now. Because Amanda has taken us as far as she can, and now it's time for the next level. That's what we should be looking at. And we should be excited that, the people that are there now are ready for that next level. And we'll see what happens in the next few weeks with regards to transfers and then taking the club forward. Yvonne says PIF might be taking the FA to task and Amanda won't want to be involved in another court case. Again, there's so much speculation out there. To be honest, if I'm being openly honest as a fan, I think it's genuinely that someone mentioned before in the chat that Newcastle United, when the takeover was done, there was a plan in place to stabilize and get things right and start communicating with the fans, start getting the team playing well on the pitch, revamping St. James's Park, getting the infrastructure right. And it however long that took. And now that we're very much into that era now. You know, things have changed a lot behind the scenes as well as in front of the scenes. Now I do think it's just simply because now is the next level. Amanda has done what she needed to do. She's done her job and done it wonderfully well. That's the way I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at it any other way about Amanda not being happy about this, and this. I genuinely think, and I may be wrong, Newcastle may come out with a statement and say that they wanted to go in different directions. That's also fine. But as I'm sitting here now, before any statement comes out, I genuinely believe that that's all it is that she was there to stabilize, and we've now got people in to take us to the next level. And forever, we will be forever grateful to Amanda Staveley for that. I don't believe the club hasn't said anything until they do. It's more bull by Northeast papers. Mate, this isn't bull. Unfortunately, I get where you're coming from, but this is not bull now. This is reality. It's happened. And it is happening. So I think Jordy, Rick, you need to just let it in and just take it on board, mate, because it is happening. Michael says it could be that Amanda didn't agree with what's going to happen. Again, very much speculation. I don't believe that. I just think that she's done her part. Ali says, I think the press got a hold of it, so they would have had plans to release a statement and got, they've sort of jumped the bullet, haven't they, as the press normally do. Keith Downey said that unclear whether this was their own choice, but general feeling is they still had unfinished business at NUFC. Now, you see, I love Keith Downey, and I'll always love Keith Downey because I think he's a genuine, brilliant journalist, right? Sporting journalist. I really do. But when he puts that out, there's a general feeling that they had unfinished business at Newcastle. That is going to start a lot more speculation than it is put minds at rest, isn't it? You know, that they've maybe been pushed out. And that maybe will start the rumours that, you know, maybe Amanda wanted this and the club wanted that and they've all fallen out. And I don't think that creates good press. I think he should have just left it unclear whether this was their own choice, if he needed to say anything at all, and then let the statement do the rest, surely. I'm a little confused by that. Really am. The Newcastle United supporters are emotional fans because we really care about our club and what happens around it. Perfectly said. Faramir says, I think it was part of the plan from the get-go. That's what I genuinely believe. And until somebody tells me different, that's what I believe. I'm not going to turn around and say, maybe they were pushed out or, you know, there was unfinished business or anything like that. I'm just going to say that I think this was part of the plan from the get-go, that they oversaw the takeover and the restabilization of the club, and then it was up to other people to then take it to the next level. That's the easiest and probably most understandable thing for me as a fan, because we've seen what they've done since the takeover, and now it's now down to others to take us to the next that next stage in this progressive build that we're doing at the football club. Guys, can we stop arguing in the chat, please? Let's just voice opinions and understand each other's opinions. There is going to be a lot of different opinions on this, but there's no need to be arguing in the chat. Nicholas says, very sad news about Amanda and Mehrdad awaiting further developments. Mark says, I reckon the top six mafia will be quite worried about this. They may think NUFC are about to become far more aggressive as a business. I can actually see that happening. But then you look at into the documentary and you look at the way Amanda conducted herself during the Gordon transfer, etc. She was very, very aggressive and did not let anybody push the football club around. So I agree to a certain degree with that. But PIF, they're not going to lay back and just let us be pushed around. I just can't see it. Dave says, maybe the near disaster with PSR made the owners want more people in place. I expect a few more changes to come in and work under Mitchell. Love Amanda, but this could be the owners focusing on the next level. It is the next level, though. That's what we're doing. And if this, like I said, I genuinely believe the plan was all along, this was the route that Newcastle were going to take. They've got people in to stabilize it. And once it was stabilized, then other people would be there to take, everybody has everybody is in a different position in business, and everybody is good at a certain thing. Now, Amanda's certain thing could have been, negotiating the takeover. As hard as that was, it was a hard, long road, but it got done. And then other things that have happened at the football club since to get the club stabilized has happened. And that's what her speciality could have been. She's a brilliant businesswoman, and that's her speciality. The next stage is maybe somebody else's speciality, like Darren Eales and Paul Mitchell, to move that club forward. Jan Lennox, welcome to Members Club. Thank you very much for signing up and your support. Really appreciate that. We'll get a couple more of your comments before we end the show. Keith T says, the pair of them have been nothing but class acts since the day they arrived. They leave with nothing but my best wishes, and I hope the best wishes of every fan. Absolutely. Nezis has been a Toon fan for over 50 years, seen changes good and bad. This is probably best for the club. She's done her part. It's time for the next level of building this magnificent club. Yeah, I agree. I really do. Chip has reckoned it's shit stirring from Downey until a statement is released. Believe no one. Look, the reason for them leaving, quite frankly, if it is on their terms, right? If it is on their terms and they've left, then that's their business. They've done it for a reason, or they have spoken to the chairman, spoken to PIF, and they've all decided that this is the time that they should get this done and leave it to other people to take us forward. If the club releases statements or something comes out in the hours and days ahead that they maybe were pushed out, we'll have another different discussion then. But at the moment, we have no idea. All we're being told is that they're leaving the football club. So speculation will be rife on social media. There's no doubt about that. It will be rife for a long time to come. However, I'm going with my original statement, mate. I just think things are in place, and yeah, we'll just see. Rochi says the club wants to invest big now, and Amanda had to go because if PIF invested $1 billion into the club tomorrow, Amanda would have to put in 6%, which would be 60 million. I think this is why they go. Again, the financial side of things is a legitimate reasons. So yeah, I 100% agree with that. It could be that if PIF are going to invest millions again, then it would be difficult for Amanda to put in the 6%. It could be financial reasons, and that is all. It could be the reason. But I don't think it. I really genuinely think that it's just the club moving forward to the next level, and Amanda's done what she needs to do. And I think for now, as Newcastle United fans, that is what should be our main focus. And also thanking Amanda and Mehrdad, obviously. Thank them for what they've done for this football club, because without them, we wouldn't be where we are. Absolutely not. The fact that she didn't give up on us for the takeover when she could have easily just walked away. Many, many times she could have just walked away. How many times did we think it was going to happen and then it didn't, and then it just went all quiet? This woman never gave up on Newcastle United. And I really do think that's what we need to focus on. Thank them for what they've done and make sure that they know how special they are to us as Newcastle United football fans. How special they've been and what they've done for this football club, because that will never be forgotten. They will be down in history as as people who changed the face of Newcastle United for much, much the better. And that's the way I'm looking at it at the minute. Obviously, if Newcastle release a statement this afternoon, we will discuss it on the show tonight when we bring you the England game. But it's mad, isn't it? It's all part of being Newcastle United fans. Case Ball, thank you for your super chat. There are a lot of rumours about her health. Yeah, look, again, the rumours, and that's her health is her issue. And if she doesn't want to discuss that, that's her prerogative. So we'll see. But guys, it's a roller coaster with Newcastle United. Certainly running a Newcastle United channel is never a dull thing. Absolutely not. For me, I like doing these videos live because we've got 1,200 in now. We're watching on both platforms on YouTube and Twitter. I love seeing your opinions rather than just sitting in front of a camera for 10 minutes and doing a video. At least you can join me live. We can all talk about it together live, and and things like that. And it's that's what I love about doing the live shows. So I hope you've enjoyed them as well. And, you know, whether you do a live or a video, people can always go and watch the rerun of a live show. So, it's just like doing a video because it's always there anyway to go and have a look at. But thank you very much, guys. Thank you for all your super chats and memberships during the show. It is very disappointing, guys. It's sad. It is a sad day, no doubt about that. But guys, don't forget to vote for us in the Football Content Awards as well. If you are new to the channel, go and click the link at the top of the description. That'll take you through to the voting page and why you want to vote for us. And make sure you vote in the category of best club content creator - Premier League. That's best club content creator - Premier League. The link is very, very much at the top of the description. But it's been a great show. I've loved getting your opinions on it, guys. So it is a sad day, but we move on. We all have to move on as Newcastle fans. That's all we can ever do. But as I say, we'll be back at 8:15 tonight for the England game. And of course, we'll be discussing this more during the halftime interval and probably at the end of the game to get everybody's view on that as well. So join us at 7:45. It should be a cracking show with the England game as well. Thank you so much for joining. And, try and enjoy the rest of your day. And hopefully we get a positive statement from Newcastle in the coming hours. But in the meantime, take care.
Come back and check on